Sarah McAllister. I am the Senior Associate Director for Career and Professional Development. And we are also joined by Nina, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nina. I'm the Assistant Director in the Office of Career and Professional Development, and I'll be all things tech today. So if you have any issues, just direct message me in the chat.
So today we are so grateful to have Mauri Schwartz back with us. She did a presentation on AI, kind of the intro version back in November. And so we're actually going to be launching a poll to see who joined that in the past. And then we have one other poll that we'd love to get your take on. But before we do that, actually go ahead and fill that out. And then also if you want to introduce yourself in the chat, and let us know where you are joining from today. Awesome. Okay, thank you for answering. Mauri, can you see this?
I can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, great. So as you're answering that poll, we'll probably close it in about a few seconds. But this is really helpful in terms of giving us a sense of just your background and helps Mauri just cater kind of get a good sense of what's going on with who's listening today. A few housekeeping things. So this is being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. We have over 70 videos on there from past professional development series. So it covers a range of topics on all things career and professional development. And if you're not familiar with that channel, we encourage you to check it out, and Nina will drop that link in the chat. Nina will also follow up with everyone just with the recording and any other information that might come out of today's session. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to you, Mauri. So thank you for being here, and I'm so excited to learn from you today.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I always love, presenting to all of you Tulane folks. Sounds like we have people from all over the place and from a lot of different years at Tulane. I am a Tulane/Newcomb alum, and from a long time ago. But anyway, it's always a pleasure to be here. I noticed in the poll that just a couple of you saw my presentation in November. We called that AI/ChatGPT 1.0. This is called 2.0, Supercharge your search using AI/ChatGPT. And I say it that way because we're going to use ChatGPT, which is an open AI product, and it's we're using their free version. They just released a new 4.0 version, which I understand does everything for you. So I may be obsolete pretty soon myself. But anyway, what I have not done is create my own AI friend. I heard that some people do that, you could just to play with it. I didn't have an imaginary friend as a kid, and I'm not creating one now, but you might. I did notice also in the poll that a lot of you are already using AI or ChatGPT specifically in your search. So I am always open for ideas. So, use the chat to open up and let me know what you're doing that we may not be doing here. And again, this is not the full out, whatever you can do for yourself with AI, but it is a good presentation, I think, on how you can use ChatGPT in your search. I will tell you right up front that that you want to take everything that the AI produces and review it and check it. Don't trust its facts. You'll see that some of what I show you, I specifically asked ChatGPT not to make things up, but sometimes it does anyway. Also, its writing is its writing. I mean, it pulls out information, and it's using information that's the company has scoured the internet and content that has been out there for a while, and it may not be your form or your style of writing. So I specifically say this is a starter. So when we talk about creating a resume, this is to get, or when you want to write something else, I look at it as a get unstuck. So sometimes when we're writing, we have it's hard to figure out how to say something. So, and even if it's a particular sentence or point, you can give it maybe your old sentence, or you could give it some information and say, create a statement or create a resume, use this, and then take that information and just edit the hell out of it. Make it your own. Don't use ChatGPT to replace yourself, because actually a lot of recruiters say they can tell because everybody's resumes look the same. So yours should be different because your impact and your achievements are different. So I'm just going to start out really quickly with a brief PowerPoint, and wait a minute. I don't think I'll have to change this share in a minute. So let's just start out. I only have a few slides in PowerPoint. Okay, there we go. And I'm gonna put this over there. So basically, this is just the beginning. And you are going to want to target your search, target your audience. So this slide comes from almost any other presentation I've done on job search with you got Tulane or any other organization, because you always want to target your search and target your audience. So what that means is you're going to want to do this with your resume and your interview. You want to look at postings that you're qualified for and are interested in. So, no, you don't have to have every one of the qualifications, but if you don't have the top seven, their priorities, which are usually the top 3 or 4 or 5, then don't bother. It kind of gums up the works. But if you have most of everything and you've done the search, but you don't have experience in a certain tool, but you have experience in similar tools, then go for it. Tailor your resume so that the recruiter and the hiring manager get it. And that's why you're not going to want to take ChatGPT by itself. Okay, now that I've given all the sort of caveats, let's keep going. And remember also, when you're doing your resume and your interview, it's not about what you want, it's about what they want. So customize your resume, identify their priorities, make it easy for them to see you're the one. Okay. Speak the same language. And it's like if they're calling certain documents or certain processes one thing, and your organization has called it something else, then change it to what their language and call it what they're calling it, because then they'll get it quickly. Highlight your relevant achievements using STAR. That's situation, task, action, and result. Don't forget the result. People are doing stuff all the time and they're forgetting the R. And that's the important part. Omit information that's not relevant. And okay, so here's the STAR situation. I'm having trouble clicking here to go to the next piece, so that's why I have hesitation. Task, accomplishment, result. So that's that. We're going to stop this share, and I'm going to go back. And I just wanted to put that out there for you, because I always say that over and over and over again, and I don't want you to lose sight of that. And now let's get into the fun stuff. Okay, we're trying to get into the fun stuff. All right, so let's stop that. Okay, sorry, in the show. So what I want to do is I'm going to take you through a set of examples that use multiple prompts with ChatGPT. So you want to create a resume, then you'll get around to interviewing, and what questions could be and what answers might be for potential questions in an interview. And the multiple prompts makes your results. Using multiple prompts makes your results from ChatGPT come out a lot better, and you'll see what I mean as we do this. So basically, I have a job posting today why is this not happening? There we go. I have a job posting for a KYC EDD specialist. And if you don't know, so today I am a fraud specialist, and I was just actually let go from a company, and I need to find a new job. And I found this job at Mercury, which is a KYC EDD specialist, and I can't remember. Here we go. Enhanced due diligence, but basically it deals with fraud and compliance in financial transactions. If you've ever, of course, you've all bought something online, and when you do, you can pay with your credit card or with PayPal, or you can use an afterpay product, which is basically, use a firm, use XYZ company or product or service to pay in the future for even payments of whatever the amount of money is. So I know you've seen that, and that's what these companies are doing. And so they're looking, there's potential for lots of fraud there. And so the companies hire people for that. And right now, that's what I'm going to look for, is I want to be able to get in the door, create a resume, and plan for interviews for this particular position. Okay, so here's my resume. I don't have a name on it, but this is my current experience. See, I was just laid off right here a couple of months ago, and I still don't have a job. But before I worked for a firm, I was as a fraud operations investigator. I worked for Wells Fargo doing financial crimes associate, and now so you can kind of understand. So here's my resume as it exists before I use ChatGPT. Now we're going to go into ChatGPT, and I'm going to start a new chat. And I have this problem when I'm sharing because that little black thing that gives me all my options is in my way. So I'm going to put it up there, and I'm going to take this. Okay, my prompt is here, as you can see. And it's not working right. Okay, I'll just do this. I just did this before, so I've done this presentation numerous times, and you never know what's going to show up when you share on Zoom, and then when you try to do multiple documents at a time. So I apologize for the hesitations, and I can assure you that I do know what I'm doing. So here's my first prompt. It said, I am a fraud investigator with 9 years experience. Please create a resume for this job. And what I do is I go into the job, and I copy the contents, and I go back to ChatGPT, and I paste it in here. So as you can see, this is the job. And so I'm asking it to create a resume for me. And here we go. It happens pretty quickly. Come on, ChatGPT. I have to scroll down to get it. And here it is. Here's the resume. So what it comes up with is it tells me it's got the place for my name and my LinkedIn profile and my contact information. And then it's got an objective. Well, right off the bat, I don't use objectives. Nobody uses objectives anymore, so it's kind of interesting that they come up with it. But again, this is their first version. But we can change that. So then it's got a professional experience section. It's made up. I didn't give it my resume, right? I just said, here's the job, create. So it created, it took the job posting, and it made up statements that basically said I matched everything, and here are my key accomplishments. I successfully reduced fraudulent activity by 25%. Well, that is a made up statistic that it made up. It may coincidentally match what I've done, but and it said I was an employee of the year, etc. So that it gave me, the whole time I said 9 years. So I'm at one company for all this 9 years. This is what they came up with. Then it has skills at the bottom, and then it's got an education. Again, all of this is made up. So now I want to say, I like to thank ChatGPT, and it says, "You're welcome." See, isn't this nice? I like it to, when they say, I like to say thank you, and then they say something back. I mean, it's all made up, but what the hell? Okay, so here, okay, now create a new resume for this job posting. Using my old resume. And then I want to paste the go back to this, and I'm going to copy all of this, and I'm going to put it into ChatGPT. So I put mine in, and it gives me a new one based on my experience. It still has the objective because I didn't ask it to take it away. So then it takes my resume and it creates a new resume for that posting. And you would have to, I mean, we could go through and compare, which actually you can do that. You can say, compare these two resumes in a 2-column presentation showing the differences. Now, in this case, there are a lot of differences because one was totally made up. And when it made that up, it didn't have my prior one. So generally, I mean, this is way too much information to be helpful. But at least it gives you an opportunity to see. Okay, some of this information it didn't have in it, but anyway, I just want to show you that you can do that. So the next thing I want to do is I want to continue this. That's why I say it's multiple prompts. So what I want to do next is based on the job posting. So remember I said that it had objectives at the top. I don't like objectives, so eventually I'm gonna ask it to replace that. Based on the job posting, what are the 3 most or 4 most important qualifications required? Okay, so it gives me 4, and it gives me in quite a lot of detail. And that's what I ask it for. Now, you will want to make sure that these are right. When you look at the job yourself, you've got to interfere here and say, okay, but it gives you an idea, and you can change it. Now, what I want to do is, okay, in your in the latest resume, replace, I wish I could type, the objectives statement with a summary of qualifications using these 4 most important qualifications. Okay, so you will notice that they have a skills section at the bottom, and there's some repetition between the skills section at the top and the summary of qualifications. So you want to, fix that. Also, if the job requires certain specific technical skills, you might want to move those up to the further up at the top of the resume between the summary of qualifications and the experience. So that you see how multiple prompts, you start out with one and you build on that. I mean, you could put everything in one prompt, but it really is better if you build on it. Okay, what does ChatGPT come up with first? And then, okay, that's great, but I'd rather do this part, or now improve it by doing this. So you get a much better idea of how you can improve using multiple prompts. And I think from the last time from when I first started doing this is the biggest lesson that I learned, is that, that you can, obviously it doesn't have to be a resume, it can be something else that you want to improve upon. If I wanted to have it, I could have taken that original resume that it created without seeing mine, and I could say, okay, take this resume and add metrics to it. And it would do that. But remember, it doesn't have my metrics, so it would be made up. So, but you could also say that from yours, or add these metrics to it, so you can keep building on it. So let's talk about interviewing. I have a couple of other things for resume, but at first I want to make sure we get through the interviewing. Okay, so now you go. What happened to me? I have a highly sensitive keyboard, so if I move my fingers, it moves around. Okay, so now I want to say I have an interview. I mean, you obviously don't have to put all these words in there, but you can just talk to it, and you can use speech recognition. So I could change it and do that if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that right now. But I'm assuming you know how to do that. I have an interview for this job at Mercury. What questions should I prepare to answer? Are 10. Okay, I misspelled it. I don't think it cares. Okay, so they gave us 10 questions. You could ask for however many you wanted. And they just elaborated on each one. So, but they didn't give any answers. And I actually have an interview prep guide, which I'm happy for all of you to get. And it's generic. It's definitely based on, behavioral questioning, and behavioral interview approaches. And there's some general questions there that you should be always always, always, always prepared to answer. So if anybody wants it, just let us know and I'll send that to you. And I can also send out the information for this. Like I have a document that's got the prompts and what I used and so forth, if you're interested. But anyway, here we have the questions that are specific to this job. And you want to be able to explain your experience. You want to be able to answer this using your experience in the areas that are relevant. You might want to say, okay, here, let's see. Okay. I'm going to say thank you again. How did I miss that? Yikes. No. Okay. Thanks. Now, please answer all of these questions using the STAR method. So see, it gives you the questions and it gives you the answers. Again, don't assume that these are going to be the questions. Use your own judgment into what you think you would be asked. Use your own experience and make sure that it's accurate. You don't want to start, using the stuff that ChatGPT has made up as in an interview, just like you don't want to do it in your resume. But you see, you can use it to create a resume, but know that you've got to put in certain information to show the impact you've had, that you've had on the and on the company. You always, in a resume, it's not just a list of here's what I did, here's my list of responsibilities, here's my list of activities. You want to show the difference you made, and we only want to show positive differences. If you mess things up and there was some negative impact, we aren't bragging about those. We're just kind of like trying to forget about them, right? So you want to show the positive impact, and don't expect people on the other side to assume. So you can't expect ChatGPT to provide the accurate information unless you give it to it. So it can write sentences for you. So it's really helpful for people who aren't good at writing or who don't trust their writing, or again, it's the unstuck. So it gives you a place to begin, and you have to really review everything and don't just memorize what it says, to go into an interview, but because you're going to want to tell this as a story. You're not just going to be, a bot that just speaks out, reads, like in a monotone. You want to be enthusiastic about your achievements. So again, I keep doing these caveats, but I think this is pretty amazing in terms of saving time for all of these activities. Now I do have, let's see what I had at the bottom here. I wanted to do, oh, okay. So I guess I did my extras already. And so I went through this in a hurry. I'm going to stop my sharing. Oh, I thought I stopped my sharing. And I'm back, and you're all back. Well, that's nice. So here I am after all of that, and I want to see, there are a lot of answers. Do people have questions now?
So
I went through that pretty quickly so that we have lots of times for questions. Or remember I said at the beginning, if you've got information or suggestions for people, let's talk about them. And I'm gonna let you, Sarah, or Nina, sort of coordinate.
yeah, so there's been some great feedback in the chat. There's also been a pretty robust conversation going on in the chat, lots of great resources being shared. So I'm going to try and capture some of the big questions. So one of the bigger ones is around how are recruiters or employers using AI kind of like tracker tools to figure out if the resume and cover letter are AI generated, and is that something that we need to worry about?
It is something that you want to be conscious of. And just like any other tool that's relatively new, some recruiters or companies are using it and some aren't. I have a client, a job seeker client who recently showed me that the company she sent her resume to and with the application, they sent her back a response that said that she wasn't going to be interviewed. She didn't have all the qualifications, and they gave her a sort of a picture, a diagram of where she fell short, which actually can be very valuable. Turns out the company was a company that creates that software, so they were using their own software to screen interviews. So it's also it's a new company, it's a new product. But the idea is that it can't be the only one. So then who else, who are their customers? Who is using this? We don't really know. So again, if you take what you come up with AI and make it your own, it's just like you wouldn't what's the word? When you I can't think of the word when you take somebody else's work and you
Plagiarize.
thank you. So then when you do that, so you don't want to do that. There was a public thing that everybody knew about a few years ago where Melania Trump gave a speech, and some of the things that she included in the speech came directly from or were exactly from a speech that Michelle Obama had previously done. So you just like you wouldn't do that, then make this your own. That's why I keep saying, check it out. Don't copy everything. And that's how, that you would avoid getting caught on that. I think like for the example I mentioned with my client, I think that they miss a lot because the person had never seen that resume. It was all based on the software. And and that's been true for a while. The software, the screening software is just getting more and more sophisticated in terms of screening you in or screening you out, making sure you have what you need on your resume. That's again, like in the beginning, I said, target, speak the same language, make sure you have the right information in there, but don't like quote the job posting. I mean, even if, sometimes they have good descriptions or good statements in a job posting, you're not going to copy theirs verbatim and put it in your resume. You're going to have to rework that. So that's what I can say. If anybody's got, an answer or has experience on that, please, and maybe it's in the chats, but I haven't had a chance to read them all. So, speak up.
One question kind of on that same thought was, there's a concern around the application tracking system using AI detecting tools. One particular person said that they submitted a job application and immediately got a rejection within about 20 minutes. And it's really hard to think that a recruiter was able to do that. So I guess what are your thoughts on the ATS system using that AI generating for detecting tools?
Well, that's sort of like two different things, I think. I mean, yes, the applicant tracking system, no matter how sophisticated or how crude the software is, can look at your resume to decide whether you have what they're looking for. They're not necessarily saying we're rejecting you because you used AI tools on this. They're saying they use the AI tool themselves to look at your software. Remember, I showed you how you could compare one resume to another. So, and then there's been software like this before. It's just getting, like I said, more sophisticated. They can compare your resume to their job posting. So that's why, and so, yes, I agree that it's likely a person never read it if it comes so quickly, that it was machine generated, or at least the screening was done by, the software. But I don't think, unless I'm missing something in the question, that doesn't tell me that they rejected the resume because the person used AI tools
Okay.
to create it.
So here's a different question. What's the latest thought regarding resume length? There are people who swear by consolidating resume to one page, but that gets harder the more experience you have. What's your opinion?
I'm still a 2-pager. Have been for a long time. If you're just a newbie, then you're a 1-page person. If you don't want to scrunch it up onto 1 page. I still see resumes, especially coming out of business school. I need to go to all these business schools until they're still, scrunching it and so they end up with 1/4-inch margins all the way around. You need white space in there. And so, you've got to do that. But if it's just a couple of lines on page 2, then figure out a way to get it onto page 1. And I've long been a proponent of having decent sized fonts, so that people can read them clearly. But sort of a cool thing now is when you submit your resume as a PDF, and you can change you can do this with Word also, but it appears, even if it's at 100%, it shows up a little bit bigger than it would have in a Word document or in a Google Doc. So, and that can be expanded to be easily read. So that is something that blind people, or not blind, but I can't say I'm blind, but people who have trouble reading small print, you don't have to worry about. So I would say 2 pages, unless you're a newbie, unless you just don't have enough information, don't stretch it out. 3 pages is too much, unless you're possibly in academia, something like that, or you've done a lot of publishing, in which case you might want to put all your publishing examples and your presentations on the 3rd page.
Okay. Another question is, other than creating resumes and cover letters, are there other AI tools or ways to use ChatGPT to scour LinkedIn or other websites for networking, contacts, etc.?
Interesting. Not, as far as I know, not with the ChatGPT, the free one that I showed you. I do understand that the 4.0 has all sorts of things. I don't know. The question is that I don't know how to do that, but I wouldn't say, I think I should think about retiring soon because some of my job is going away. Actually, no. I mean, it still needs a personal touch. I will never sell against what I and other good coaches provide. But I don't know the answers is my answer.
I know there's a platform that we used to use, Nicole, if you want to chime in, Career Shift, that would kind of do that. So I don't know, I don't know their proprietary software in terms of it was AI generated, but that was where you could find contact information based on companies and positions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that however long ago that you've had it, that it was AI generated, but I'm an old software engineer, and when I don't know the back ends of code for AI. I do believe it's something where the software learns, but you could do searches and priority create. There's a lot of stuff you can do with basic old code. So we did a lot of that. It just took a long time because the hardware couldn't do it. But so what I'm saying is, yes, there probably was something out there, whether it was AI developed, I doubt it at some other time. Now, I would imagine you can find, you can. In fact, I want to learn more about ChatGPT 4.0, and there are a lot of other tools. So I'm going to save the chat so I can go through and see what other people are using and do that.
There's some great resources there.
Yeah.
Um,
And I thank you for those. As I said at the beginning, I know what I know, and I'm happy to tell you that I don't know everything. And in this area, I know a little bit. So I will, for those of you who didn't know that much, then I'm hope that it was helpful.
Absolutely. We've got
Just
at least one more question in the chat.
Yeah.
So if the question is, if my technical skills and certifications are on page 2 of my resume, and is it possible that AI screening tools will not pick up parts of the second page?
I don't think that's a problem. But if let me just tell you, if you've got 2 pages in your resume, if it's important, if you want it to be caught and seen, you want it to be on page 1. So your summary of qualifications shouldn't just be a repeat of, like the AI generated one. It should include specifics of if you've got something, if your experience includes an exact previous experience doing what they're looking at wanting to do or similar, then you want to highlight it. And the first top third or 30% of your resume is the most important real estate. Now that is for human contact, but let's say you get past you get accepted by AI and someone does look at your resume, then which actually happens a lot. I mean, unless you're just way off, then they don't have time to look at it, but they look at it. You want them to see right at the top that you have what they're looking for. So you could have a summary of qualifications, and then if you've got technical skills or something like that, you could have a section in between summary of qualifications and the professional experience that highlights those skills. Or you could have a section that highlights your you want to have highlighted achievements. And again, you don't want that to take up the 2 sections to take up more than maybe 40 to 45% of the first page. But if you got something on page 2, so let's say you have a job that was far enough back on your resume that it's on page 2, which is easy to happen for experienced people, and you've got a lot of other things since then you want to make sure that you find a way to refer to that on page 1. So I really call that summary of qualifications. I want you to think of it as a table of contents. If you put it on your resume and you say that Mauri said that's what it is, then I will deny first, because people think you're strange. So no, you do not put table of contents on your resume. You just think about it. So that's why you can call it a summary. You can call it qualifications. You can call it a profile. You can put a functional title at the top in terms of the heading, but just think of it in your mind as a table of contents.
Perfect. I think
so those things haven't changed. I mean, the information that your resume includes hasn't changed from before AI to now. It's just, you still have to make sure you have what they want to see. Remember on my brief PowerPoint, it says it's not about what you want, it's about what they want. And that's in your marketing part. Yes, you don't want to take a job you don't want, but when you're trying to have them fall in love with you, you want to think about what they want.
This has all been extremely helpful. I think that's it in terms of our questions. Thank you everyone for sharing resources, and Mauri, thank you for this presentation. I know that I've learned a lot. Wait, let's see. I noticed your resume had references upon request. Is that still needed?
No. Oh, did it? Oh, thank you for bringing that up. That was the one, that was the ChatGPT one, right? So no, you don't put that. I mean, what does it do? It doesn't, I mean, yes, of course, they're available upon request. It just takes up space. So, and that's what I used to say about objectives. Remember when people say they didn't have anything about them, they just said, I'm looking for the objective was searching for something or other, or a blah, blah, blah person or professional looking for something. That the best thing that can do on your resume is take up space. So that's a negative, and that's the best thing that are, you know, the old-fashioned objective. So no, that and the references should not be there.
Good catch, Wendy. Thank you. So if people want to get in touch with you, if they have questions, if they want to learn what it looks like to work with you, what is the best way that they can reach out?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm going to put, oh, I lost my PowerPoint. It's got it on there, but hang on a second. Give me a second. I have to share first, don't I?
I'll also share this information in the follow-up email, as well as some of the stuff that we mentioned earlier, just so everybody knows in case people logged off.
Yeah, please do. I mean, here's my contact information. Get in touch with me anytime. If you're interested in, you know, use and ask me questions. If you're interested in engaging my services, Tulanians get a 10% discount. And that's always been since the beginning of Career Insiders, which is now 13 or 14 years old. So I can't believe, I mean, 23 or 24 years old. How could I forget a whole decade? Anyway, this is my information. Please be in touch. Look for me on LinkedIn and connect. Just tell me that, you know, where you met. Please, I do that for me. When you ask people to connect, unless it's like your best friend or something, be sure to write a note. Don't just send click on it. So that's the etiquette. That's the polite way to do it. And for me, and then for everybody else, you'll remind me where we met, where we got to know each other. So anything I've shown today is available.
Great. That's wonderful. Thank you, Mauri. You're getting some great feedback in the chat. And with that, thank you everyone for coming. And Nina will be in your inboxes with all of the follow-up information. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.